Hi there, my name is Cole, and today we are going to be building this Nissan Skyline GTR in Lego. Hi there, my name is Cole. It is incredibly hot outside and I am very tired, but today we are going to be looking at how I built the Nissan Skyline GTR in Lego form. Now, if you'd like to build this model yourself, I've made instructions for it, which you can get from my website or Rebrickable. Links to both are in the description below. They look like this. I think they look pretty good. And so check that out if you're interested. But yes, today I'm going to talk about how I built it, and you guys can see how I designed it and stuff. If you watched previous videos, I will sometimes do a design like evolution. Here are all the versions I made. Today we're going to do just kind of show how the final version goes together in a more interesting way. But for those of you who have seen my videos like this before, I would appreciate if you let me know if you like the kind of design evolution style or just showing the finished model, how it goes together like this video. So basically I had the idea a little while back, like I want to build another GTR because those of you who have been here for an extremely long time remember that I think 3 years ago now I made a Nissan R34 generation GTR, and it was a pretty good model for my scale at the time. But recently I was thinking I want to try that again because it is a cool car, even if it gets talked about a lot and built a lot. But I want to build something different, not just another blue or silver Fast and Furious one. And so that's what I did. This is the Auto Select GTR, which is basically a GTR tuned by a company called Auto Select in Japan in the 90s. I don't really have that much information on Auto Select. I just asked a buddy of mine who you can follow here. He's a really good Lego builder. I highly recommend you follow him. Basically, he has a good knowledge of modified Japanese cars, and so I asked him, hey, what are some good GTR tuners from the time? And he gave me a bunch, and one of them, which was this Auto Select one, and I was like, I'm building that. So I did. Well, I started out with a stock version, which I took a bunch of video of, and then accidentally deleted all the video. So I have like some video of it, but not much. So you can kind of see what that looks like. And I made a design breakdown of that one, and I'm just going to show you guys, oh look, I built the yellow one too, but all that video got deleted. So I'm just going to show it to you guys the yellow one. So let's go into the design of this model. So I started off with this chassis. This is a fairly common chassis design for my models, which is basically just a 4-stud wide plate. And on either side I have the modified tile with just 2x2 tile with 2 studs, and that makes a very nice side skirt. And there's a little bit of the interior built up there, you can see. Then we're going to attach this kind of bulkhead, which is basically just a dashboard, center console, steering wheel, and then a hinge that the hood's going to go on. This rear bulkhead was completely redesigned in the instructions, so right now it's just a big inefficient design, but I did modify it eventually to be something much nicer. Then we'll put on the dashboard here, and then this is where the sides of the car start. So as you can see, we have this is a fairly common Speed Champions mock design, I feel, with these 2 curved wedges on a bracket, and we have that. Then we have this larger chunk, which basically is the same thing, just brackets those modified tiles, and one of these goes on each side in the back. Then I will add this kind of more of the dashboard part. This is just another kind of bulkhead. At this point I'll add more of the sides, and this is again just more tiles and these wedge slopes that create this kind of depression inside the car. So then we get some things to put the front bumper on. As you can see, it's using a technique from the Countach set, which uses the espresso plate part and then a plate with ring on top of that, so that way it creates this extremely small gap, which is very nice for creating a bumper of a car that you want to stick out a little bit, but not too much. Then we have the actual front bumper itself, which is basically just a bunch of stacked plates. There's some interesting techniques here, like you can see you have this panel with a bracket under it to make the kind of grille shape, and the headlights are these interesting half circle pieces. There's a bunch of these involved in the front design. I think it looks pretty good. Pretty straightforward as far as builds go, but I think it ends up working quite nicely. And this gets connected to those aforementioned plates with ring that are sticking out just a little bit, so that way it creates this nice distance between the bumper and the rest of the car. Then I'll attach the rear fenders, and this assembly, this is basically just like a center kind of bulkhead. It's offset with jumper plates, and it's a bunch of brackets and sideways building and upside down building, and the license plates on there, and it's kind of an interesting little build. Then I start to attach the taillights, which are basically just Technic bricks with a red, I think, half pin, 3/4 pin in there, and there's one on either side. Now, the real Auto Select GTR has these weird orangish color on the taillight covers, and so that's represented here by using bright light orange brick. Then we have this little bit that goes, it's basically the lower part of the rear bumper, and this just connects using a stud dot on top brick to the underside of the fender kind of area. This is a very fun little assembly to put together with parts going in basically every direction, and it looks quite clean when it's done, so I was very happy with how this turned out. Then we have this bizarre assembly which connects the inner taillight and the wing. So we have a 1x1 round towel with a bar, then a round plate with a bar that goes into an upside down Technic brick, and then it also has a robot arm attached which connects to the wing. Very complicated, or not very complicated, it's a very strange assembly, and it fits in quite nicely and makes the rear look pretty good in my opinion. Shout out to Levi from Lego Car Building Discord, Lever Builds on Instagram. I highly recommend you follow him. He has a great variety of builds and they're all extremely high quality, so I recommend you check him out. I'll add the exhaust pipe here, which is very simply a candle piece and works super nicely for this. Then I'll add this kind of mini roll cage representation, which is just a bar and then two robot arm or bar with clip pieces on it that you can kind of see behind the seats. Then we have the seats themselves, which clip onto that bar that I attached at the beginning. And these are very simple seats. This model does actually fit a minifigure, which is not something that I've had on many of my other models at all, but it's come back for this one. Then we have this assembly, which is effectively the trunk lid. It doesn't open, but it's two brackets, and then they're attached with these new D-snot pieces and round tiles with bars, and it's an interesting little assembly, and it's very satisfying to put in place. Then we have the B pillars, which are basically curved wedges and a round tile. These are mounted on a round plate, which are mounted on plates with rings, and then there's a bar going in between them to keep them nice and lined up. And I think this is a really nice representation of the B pillars in the GTR, and they're not too thick, and they sit at a nice dynamic angle. Then we have this side piece, which is very straightforward, just a bunch of slopes. There's a bracket up front to fill the gap behind the fender. Then we have the hood, which is a bunch of tiles and wedge plates on turntables, because this has to clear an extremely small gap. And so I want to do something similar to my Integrale build here, which has the sloped hood on top, just resting on top of the fenders, because the GTR has a sloped hood, similar slope to the Integrale. So I want to use a similar technique. This is, I think, much more solid than the Integrale's design, but I am super happy with how it turned out, and it lines up quite nice and cleanly with everything. And then we have some just tiles that are not slanted in the middle to kind of form the power bulge on the GTR's hood. Then we have the rear window, which is just 2x3 tiles on standard hinge bricks, but it actually lines up quite nicely. And we have the roof, which is very simply just some tiles on a windscreen piece and some transparent brick towards the back. I had tried filling in the area around the B pillars more, but it didn't seem to work so well, just the design, and so I think it looks fine with the little gap there. I don't think it's super noticeable, but you could probably modify that relatively easily. And then we have the wing, which is very simply a tile with some brackets and more tiles in the edges. And then we have the wheels. Now these are the wheels from the actual official Lego Nissan GTR set. This car in real life has, like, I'm pretty sure TE37s, and this is the closest 6-spoke wheel Lego makes to them, so I figured I would use them. I bought this yellow Tamiya spray paint, and it looks pretty good. Maybe you could have used a little bit of primer to get them a bit brighter yellow, but I think they look fine for now, and this project took way too long, so I just wanted to get it over with. And I think they look very good. They look a lot better than the standard black wheels anyway, a lot more interesting. And so that's the design process. I should point out the little round jumper things in the front are also bright light orange because they don't exist in yellow, and that's really the only wrong color on this car. Everything else is basically the right color here. I'm very happy with this model. I think the yellow and the black contrast super nicely because yellow and black is a color scheme that I really like, but I feel in a lot of situations the contrast doesn't work. But I think on this car, which is so often in like grays and blues, or gray and blue Fast and Furious, it just looks super different and really nice, and so I'm so happy with how it turned out. Like I said, if you'd like to build this or the stock version in gray, like the Z-Tune one, I'm going to call it, because that's more interesting than a completely normal one. Instructions are on the website and rebrickable, like I said. I believe that's it for now, so thank you so much for watching. I believe that is all I have to say today. I always feel like I have more to say at the end of these videos, but I don't have anything more to say, so that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and with that, I hope to see you at the next video. If you don't, then understandable. Have a great day.